Underway.
Ready? Play.
Well, that's a tidy start.
15 love.
Perhaps a slightly ominous start for the Italian. It's the sort of firepower she is up against this afternoon. It's 4 p.m. local time. Courts are relatively quick, aren't they? Here at the US Open, perhaps a touch slower than Cincinnati. That was the event that Sabalenka won coming into the US Open. A young fan, excited courtside. And I'm guessing you see that as making this matchup even more complicated for Bronzetti, who's probably a little more comfortable on a slower court. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. The title that she did win happened to be on clay in Rabat, so that's definitely her preferred surface, although I will say she reached the final of Bad Homburg on a grass court, so she can play on the quicker surfaces as well. But generally these conditions, in my opinion, Sabalenka probably the best hard court player on the women's side in the world.
It's a nice combination. Great overhead as well. Struck that aggressively.
And this is definitely Aryna Sabalenka fan here. Of it. A few more angles against these great movers as Coco Gauff to open the court a bit more. Showed all of that at the Australian Open. Aryna Sabalenka.
Lucia Bronzetti to serve.
Important opening service game for the world number 76, who did make the third round here last year. That was another standout week for her. Third appearance at Flushing Meadows for the Italian.
Nice hands there on the backhand side. Dropped it into the feet of Aryna Sabalenka, and Bronzetti has a bit of a flat backhand. Goes really, grazes the net really low. The forehand has a bit more spin, sits up a bit more.
Some serious accuracy. There's the call. Just shaving the outside of the line.
Let second service. Game Bronzetti.
Yeah, it's a nice positive body language. It's so important, isn't it, for a player like Bronzetti today to somehow try and stay with Sabalenka in these early stages. Easier said than done, but it's crucial if you're going to make a top 5 player feel uncomfortable to a degree.
Yeah, that is never have been truer words spoken. Most of the top 5 players are front runners. Once they have the break, they swing even freer at the balls. And it makes it increasingly hard to get back into the match. So that will be very important from Bronzetti's perspective.
Came through that Cincinnati draw incredibly impressively. Sabalenka didn't drop a set all week. A couple of useful wins against a couple of her major rivals as well, and that must be useful coming into the final Grand Slam of the season. Iga Swiatek in the semis and Jesper Gula, who's been playing such good tennis in the final, both in straight sets.
Yeah, and on top of that, beat Samsonova very easily in the quarters, who she had a losing record against before they played in Cincinnati, and that is always a good feeling when you turn something around for yourself. Anton Dubrov, Sabalenka's coach, who's been by her side for a while now.
So comfortable on serve so far, as we expected.
Sabalenka leads 2 games to
but it's
1
on serve
per set.
after the opening 3 games. 8 minutes on the match clock. Time slot today, late afternoon. Been a busy day already. We've got a lot of tennis ahead of us. Survival of the fittest today in these temperatures. I've had the luxury of being hidden away in this commentary booth for a while now. I was across the Zverev match before this. You've just come in. How hot is it out there today?
I was in the shade and it's stifling, so I can only imagine how the players on the outside courts must feel like, where there is no roof, no shade, just the glaring sun. The air is standing, there is no wind. Really hard.
Yeah, one of the benefits, I guess, of playing on a stadium court here, you do have a little bit of shelter, don't you? As you say, some of those outside courts today, brutally hot in a direct sunshine, even this time of the day, late afternoon. It was peaking, the temperatures around 3 p.m. today. From my weather information, real field temperatures of around sort of 35, 36 degrees Celsius today, so it is brutally hot. Good defense.
Absolutely. Bronzetti is doing a great job in staying in the rally, showing off her competitiveness already, has a great mindset, fights until the end for every single ball. And that's important against Sabalenka, as we saw in the final last year, making one extra ball if you can. Coco Gauff did that so well.
Just half chance here, 30 all on a Bronzetti serve. Oh, fabulous effort. A touch fortunate with the finish, but goodness me, she did so well to stay in the point.
40-30.
And you can see here why Sabalenka is not quite yet a natural net player. She never really closes the net down, in fact moves back after each volley. Could have made life easier for herself, but another fantastic point from Lucia Bronzetti here.
Point for 2 all, first set. It's a terrific effort. It's the first box ticked today, just to stay with Sabalenka in these early stages. Quick reminder to download the US Open app. You can follow all your favorite players, track all the scores, live scores, all the stats. We've got match highlights on there, all the player news, news reports, all the press conferences. New this year, you can watch live 3D views of all the singles matches. That's available on the App Store and the Google Play Store, the official US Open app. Competitive start to this one. Lucia Bronzetti's done a good job so far. All she can really expect from these opening few games, just hang on to her serve and try and stick with the #2 seed for as long as possible.
And she is so devastating in the first 2 shots of any rally, really, but especially when her first serve finds placement and then the next shot. Almost impossible to neutralize any of that.
Serving big and making a lot of first serves so far. 9 of 12. Oh,
40-15.
beautiful response. That will feed the confidence. Wraps up game number 5, though.
Sabalenka leads 3 games
As
to
we
2
expected,
first sets.
dominant on serve so far. She's kept things tidy, hasn't she? That's been another positive element. Just a couple of unforced errors. She's doing the basics well so far on serve. Has been inside the top 50, the Italian, just inside 46. Her best ranking so far. Great shot, isn't it, of the raw power that Sabalenka brings to the court. Defending her second serve well so far as well. That's been crucial. 5 of 7 of those points won.
Yeah, very well. 71% winning rate on those second serves. That's impressive against Aryna Sabalenka, who goes after those second serves right away.
Got there in the end. A good effort from the Italian, but Sabalenka has created another half chance here in game number 6.
And Sabalenka just needs to clear the net a bit more. She's already hit the top of the net 6 or 7 times in this match. If she can just get some more clearance, I think it will be much easier life for her. Has the chance now on the second serve. Trouble for Bronzetti.
Yeah, it's a devastating combination. It's a return we've seen already 2 or 3 times, going big up the middle. And there's her biggest fan. She enjoyed that winner. First break point of the match. Now that one does go long, and there is the first break. Sabalenka makes a move.
Sabalenka leads 4-2 first set.
Did very well there from the defensive position, Sabalenka, to find the height above the net, put a bit more spin on it, and gets one of the few unforced errors from Bronzetti, who's playing really well so far, but just up against maybe the best hardcourt court player in the world right now.
Love 15. All. 15-13.
First double faults. Offers Bronzetti a little bit of hope here. Just drops wide, and another hold of serve for the world number 2, who's in good shape now after 26 minutes. 5-2. Bronzetti serving to stay in this first set. 2-5. That's where we get an idea of how much the previous service game has affected her in terms of what's going on mentally out there this afternoon.
Well, and her first serve percentage has dropped under 50% in the last 2 games now. Needs to be very careful. She's doing still well when she makes the first serve, but she's just not making enough. Here we have the numbers.
And it's crucial really today, isn't it? Because you can't step on court starting too many points with a second serve and expect to survive too many service games against someone like Sabalenka.
That angle attempt was a bit optimistic from the center of the court, but you only miss the shots you don't take, right?
Good return, more evidence that she's just starting to find a range and rhythm as the match wears on. Not doing quite so well behind the second serve, Bronzetti, as she was first 2 or 3 service games. It's a nice way to hold once more, though.
Sabalenka leads 5 games to 3 first sets.
How is your Italian, Andrea? Did you pick much up on the tour?
I was trying to, because I thought my Italian was much better than what I picked up, because I picked up 0 things except for something with dropping the hand, but unaware of whose hand and when. So that doesn't help at all.
Too big. Good target area as well. Don't have to go too close to the lines because of how well she struck this forehand.
Yeah, and this is very dangerous play from Bronzetti. She hit that forehand really nicely, but just a bit too short, and that gives Sabalenka enough time to set up for her big shots. So important against these big hitters to have depth, because most of them, they really take the energy from the ground and their legs nicely rotate through the entire body. That's how they create that much power. But if you can take that away from them or just have them off balance a little bit, you can cause some unforced errors.
If you're Bronzetti in this situation, you have to see this as a golden opportunity, really. 30-all. Hope that Sabalenka maybe misses this first serve and see what you can do with the return. Oh, it was close.
Yeah, that's really unlucky. It was a great play. Would have neutralized that big serve right away.
As it is, up comes a set point for the number 2 seed. And she's up and running. 1 foot in the 3rd round here in New York. All in all, pretty good sets. Day and night here in North America. Two-time major champion, of course. Both of those titles coming down in Australia. Good record here. It's gone deep. 2 or 3 times finalist last year, but also a 2-time semi-finalist. It feels like it's just a matter of time, doesn't it, before the pieces of the jigsaw fall into place for Aryna here in New York.
Yeah, absolutely. I think hard courts are her specialty, the way the clay court is Iga Świątek's specialty. And my hot take in the tennis is that she could have won the Grand Slam last year. Was up a set and a break in almost every single of those semis. Up a set in the final here last year against Coco Gauff.
Oh, that is a perfect strike. Well, that's landed. Early chances.
Oh. 15-14.
Oh, well done. What a volley that was. Punched it back deep.
30-40.
Third chance for Sabalenka to strike early in this second set, make the perfect start. Bronzetti back from love 40 in this game, so she's done well to survive as long as she has. And back to deuce. That's a good effort.
And that's the only little weakness, if you can speak of weakness at all, in Sabalenka's game. Sometimes she is too impatient and she goes for shots that are high risk, low percentage. She's annoyed. I love that you can see every single thing that goes through her mind on her face at all times.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. There's no defending those kind of forehands.
Yeah, and that was also a huge strike, and you would think high risk, but it is cross court, it is on a short point. There are so many more safety nets around this type of shot, so if you're a bit off, it might still go in.
This time she does convert and strikes early. Perhaps there's the evidence of exactly what you were talking about during the first set, Andrea.
Challenge against these top stars, and it creates pressure in your mind.
Plenty of time to pick a spot. It was easy power.
30 love.
Все правильно, просто после этого готовься. Он далеко стоит. Давай, давай.
There she found the depth of the return, Bronzetti, and then got the opportunity to do something with. And sometimes we then miss those shots because you're not used to having a slower ground stroke to hit.
Again, she finds herself at 30 all. On the Sabalenka serve deep in the first set. Just missed that return by a fraction, didn't she, up the middle? Oh, almost a carbon copy, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Timed it nicely. Yeah, just a little bit frustrated. sets up the break. And in
Sabalenka leads
firm control
2
now.
games to love, second set.
Set and 2 love. The team will be relatively pleased with our progress today. Nice shot of this magnificent stadium, the second biggest show court here in New York. Some great matches on the schedule today as ever inside this stadium. Victoria Azarenka on this court this evening. Night session kicking off at 7 p.m. against Clara Burel, and then Berrettini Fritz, the last match of the day.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah.
Berrettini Fritz. I think everyone in the draw can't wait until Berrettini will be seated again.
Gives us an opportunity to talk about Italian tennis. Andrea, ask a lot of people this question. What's your take on why they've had so much success lately? Women's and men's tennis.
Yeah, I think it's the tournaments. I think that the amount of tournaments they have, and not speaking about the high... Oh, yes. Great point by both women, ended by Sabalenka at the net, and not speaking about the high prestige tournaments as the Rome 1 ATP Masters 1000 and WTA 1000, but the challengers, the ITF tournaments, the 15Ks, the 25Ks. When I was coming up, I was playing almost entirely in Italy. That's why I thought I spoke it better earlier, before I realized I don't. And that just grows a crop of great players.
What a shame, did so well to defend for so long.
15-14.
So a lot of opportunities is what you're saying, without maybe spending too much money as a tennis player when you're a little lower down the rankings.
Yeah, and I strongly believe that nothing trains an athlete better than competition. And if you can have the competition right in front of your door, international competition against the best in the world, that will just make you pain resilient. And we see it so often in tennis. It's not the most necessarily the most talented players that have the best careers. It's the most resilient, the most adaptable players who have the long-lasting, successful careers. Of course, everyone has talent, but we are talking about professional athletes here. And you can train that perfectly in that competition, in those tournaments.
Game Sabalenka.
Sabalenka converts once more. That should be enough to get this done now.
Sabalenka leads 3
She's
games to
raced
love.
inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. A sensible move on a very warm day in New York. Back inside Louis Armstrong. Sabalenka well on her way to round 3, it would seem at the moment. Same half of the draw as the number 3 seed Coco Gauff, defending champion. So in theory, and I know this doesn't often go to plan, does it? And we try and project what might happen deep into the second week, but Sabalenka and Coco Gauff could be in for a rematch. Of course, that was the final here last year. That would be a semi-final this year if both progress. Coco in action tonight inside Arthur Ashe Stadium against a player I'm sure you know well, Tatiana Maria from Germany.
German, exactly. She will be up against some slices, both from the backhand and forehand side.
30-15.
Heavy ground strokes, perfect word that you used right at the start of the match, Andrea, to describe what it's like to be on the end of some of those forehands. You can almost feel the weight of them just watching, can't you? The way that ball's coming off the strings and then off the court. Points for 4-love. So a much more comfortable, certainly at this stage,
4 games to love,
second set than the first. This is how some of the fans are cooling down outside. The big fogs. That is a popular spot today. I think that guy's been there for the last 2 hours.
I'm sure he has.
A reminder to check out usopen.org. That's your online home for all the live scoring, highlights, stats. And the draws, of course, the schedules are on there as well. That's the official tournament website, usopen.org. Such high standards these very, very top players have. You can see the shake of their heads, despite the scoreline, 6-3, 4-love. I think it's interesting when you see those sort of reactions, because I'm sure there'll be thousands of people watching at home thinking, what's the problem?
Yeah.
You're up a set 4-love, but I suppose you're always analysing, assessing as a tennis player. That's beautiful, how the different areas of the game are functioning with whatever the next test is around the corner.
Yeah, and I think one underestimated aspect of Sabalenka's game is the intensity she brings to the court. And one of these aspects of the intensity is that she wants to win every single point, so you constantly feel rushed. And that's why she gets angry, because she wants every single point so much that she doesn't even see the bigger picture, the scoreline. She just wants to win every point, and you feel that as an opponent, and it suffocates you over the course of a match. And that's why you see players out there making bad decisions against Sabalenka at times.
There's another ambitious return, but still in a good position. Not too far away from wrapping this one up. Bronzetti on the scoreboard. So a couple of service holds will do it for Aryna Sabalenka in terms of today's task. She'll be back on Friday, of course, if she can finish this off. Day off between the singles matches. That's the format here at the 4 majors. If you're perhaps you're new to the sport, watching some of the Grand Slam tennis with us. It's a marathon, not a sprint, a Grand Slam title, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's so hard to maintain the same energy levels over 2 weeks. Usually tennis tournaments are a 1 week affair, even though that will change. Some of those tournaments will become longer formatted, but still, it's always a challenge at a Grand Slam tournament. You might run into a bad day, into an off day, and you have to survive.
Inch perfect. And a very efficient service game. Almost home and dry.
Yeah, continues to be pitch perfect on the serve, +1. There is almost nothing you can do unless you find some cracking returns with a lot of depth.
Long 15.
What a bonus for Sabalenka if she can get this done in around an hour today. These oppressive conditions. Better news for everybody tomorrow. Just a few autograph hunters sneaking in. You can always tell when we're close to the end of the match because all those giant luminous tennis balls appear just a few feet from where the players sit. Almost like a swarm of bees coming down.
The attack of the tennis bees.
Thank you.
And just a terrible feeling as the opponent who is on the losing end, seeing all the autograph hunters running down, assuming that the match is over very soon.
Oh. 15-30.
Yeah, quick word on the weather tomorrow. It is cooling significantly tomorrow, around sort of 8 or 9 degrees Celsius cooler. Andrea looks pleased about that news.
Very pleased.
Brilliant.
15-14.
What a way to bring up 2 chances to finish this off. Smooth progress today for the #2 seeds, Aryna Sabalenka. Fairly tight during the opening 4 or 5 games, but once she broke in the first set, motored towards the finish line into round 3. She is looking good so far here in New York. Comfortable today. 6-3, 6-1.